नमस्कार सिक्किम क्रोनिकलमा तपाईहरु सबैजनालाई स्वागत छ र आजको यस एडिसनमा हामी स्वामी मित्रनन्दसँग कुराकानी गर्न लागिरहेका छौं। उहाँ C20 को नेशनल लिडर हुनुहुन्छ र सँगसँगै उहाँ चेन्नईबाट आउनुभएको अनि उहाँ चिन्मय मिसनलाई रिप्रेजेन्ट गर्नुहुन्छ र धेरै कुराकानी गर्ने छौं डिफरेन्ट एस्पेक्टलाई लिएर। स्वामीजी, फर्स्ट एन्ड फरमोस्ट we would like to welcome you in the state of Sikkim.
Thank you so much.
You have a very hectic journey, but still I just wanted to start before understanding the concept of C20. So much has been talked about Vasudeva Kutumbakam, one family, one earth, and one future. So my question to you is, at a time when so much of hatred is being propagated, so much of humanity is at question. What do you think? What is the relevancy of Vasudeva Kutumbakam in present context?
First, you have to understand 20 economically doing well nations.
Right.
So those 20 nations means they are quite powerful in the world. They started a meeting together for economic progress, 1999 onwards. And then it slowly developed to other wings, other aspects, and they went into civil societies. So the C20, which Sikkim is hosting, a national conference, is a civil society of 20 nations to discuss how to implement this idea of Vasudeva Kutumbakam. Now, Vasudeva Kutumbakam is a statement coming from a Upanishad.
Exactly.
So I would like to know from you, how old do you think Upanishads are?
Pretty old.
Pretty old? Yes. You can guess some years.
Yeah. Centuries old.
Correct. It runs into few thousand years old.
Exactly.
There are indications which talk that Rig Veda is 20,000 years old. And humans have lived on this planet for 2 lakh years. You understand, as Homo sapiens. And the first singular organism came on this earth was 4 billion years.
4 billion years.
Okay. So if you see all that, 2 lakh years are nothing. So the Rig Veda could be 20,000 years old. And there are enough dates to prove it. So this statement in the Upanishad is minimum, we can say 10,000, 12,000 years old, that ancient. Now, I like to ask you another question. You think this statement came out from a human mind?
No.
From a human intellect?
No.
Upanishads are not born out of human minds. Upanishads are documented,
right,
on the revelations when the human mind was silent. When you hit a level of stillness and you remain in that stillness, certain things of the universe reveals itself. That's called revelation. So these are all heard. The rishis say shruti they are. They heard. It's not that they created, they compiled, they heard. So when the mind was still, it reveals. Such revelations are Upanishads. So it's a dialogue between a student and a teacher, recorded this way. So it's a revelation which is recorded in the form of student-teacher dialogues. So there it is said so clearly that this entire universe is one family. Now when we say they are one family, we have to understand that the cause and the effect are the same. Cause only appears as effect.
Right.
Okay. So if there is a lump of gold, from that you make chain, you make a ring, you make a bracelet, all are made of gold. From gold, no matter what you take, will be only gold. So from cause, whatever you take has to be only the cause. So some call it God, some call it divine, some call it reality, some call it X factor, you name it. But what, from gold only gold can come, from divine only divinity can come, from God only God can come. So the effect is not different from the cause. So that way when you see the creator and the created, both are not different, they are one. So the created is one and the creator, both are one. So we, 12,000 years ago or itself, we started admiring, adoring the created too. That's why in our culture we worship an ant, we worship an elephant, we worship a tree, we worship a snake, we worship mountains, we worship rivers, rain, anything we worship, and everything is associated with divinity. So for us, created and the creator are divine. If this principle, if we have not lost, we lost it in between various invasions and then different system of education. When all this came in, this kind of a thought was put away. And then the rest of the world, particularly after the Industrial Revolution, they went out to say, let's conquer the earth. Our approach, not just our approach, Asian approach, the Eastern approach is worship the earth, revere the earth, look at her like a mother. Conquer and revere, there are differences. Conquer is like you see what you can take from it. Revere is what you can offer. So from revering the earth traditions, we moved to conquer the earth. Because some people felt created is not divine, only the creator is divine. The conflict arises. So created, I can do whatever I want. Creator and the created both are divine. Then you take care.
So do you think
the effect and the cause are one and the same.
So do you think we have been able to bring back it to the pedestal again?
We, in a long period of time, this knowledge was lost. We have made an attempt. Now, is it not brilliant by the Prime Minister and his team to bring Vasudeva Kutumbakam as a motto for G20 and making 20 nations discuss the Upanishad decline?
So with so much of scientific advancement, how do you have this connotation of Vasudeva?
Very simple. What is cellular biology talking about? Is it not talking about oneness? Is not physics talking about oneness? Who are the guys who got recent Nobel Prize for physics? Two of them got Nobel Prize for physics on quantum physics. You see, through quantum physics, they are talking about quantum physics is almost at the threshold of arriving at what the Upanishads are declaring. So through science we see oneness, through philosophy we see oneness, through 5 elements we see it's the same space across the globe, same air. There is oneness everywhere.
Right.
So we can definitely bring. So when the scientific community also recognizes the oneness, there you are.
So slightly shifting the focus while doing a research, I happened to watch one of your TEDx speeches, and you beautifully mentioned about the youth empowerment, saying that youth are not useless, but they have been used less. So I mean, we know that there has an immense potential in the youth of today's, but have you been able to tap those in alignment with what you are especially talking about?
First, even in the TEDx I have mentioned, this is a statement by Swami Mitrananda.
Yes.
He said youth are not useless, they're useless, they are not careless, they're cared less. So that's how he saw the youth. And he gave a motto saying, harnessing youth potential through dynamic spirituality.
Okay.
That's his vision in bringing youth together, their potential, through dynamic spirituality. So mission has implemented that well. But outside Chinmaya Mission also, when I look at a thing, is it not youngsters taking responsibility everywhere? The number of startups which we have taken up, are the young people who are doing it. So I think once the opportunity is given, the youth is not wasting time, they're catching it up. So I see youth more dynamic, and which youth in the world are in demand for the world?
Right.
You see Indian youngsters go to UK, they go to US, they go to Australia to study. I have met the embassies, the consulate general, ambassadors in most of these countries where I travel. I had this very interesting conversation. So I asked them, how many youngsters come from India? to study. The numbers are the largest compared to anyone else. I said, how many graduate? This many graduate. Indians are the highest. How many do PhD? Postgraduate? Indians are the highest. PhD? Certainly we are on the top. So in the course of this conversation, I used to ask them saying, how many are in jail? Hardly any. Hardly any. Now this is to be admired and to be proud of. We are sending people who can contribute to that country and not be a pain to any of them. We are non-controversial, cultured people. We go there and we help some other nation to progress. We are not demanding a separate land. We are not fighting for anything else. We are not even doing. We go there, we merge with them and we make them contribute. So the Indian youth that way are in demand around the world. I don't know what you're talking about. This is the fact.
Right. So Swamiji, my concern is like, I mean, I mentioned this in my first question, that we live in a very, a society where, I mean, like, especially so much of hatred is being like, propagated in terms of religion, in terms of community, in terms of ethnicity. What?
This information, what I told you now,
Yeah.
that we don't see our youngsters in jail across the world. Why is that not in the news?
No, I'm talking in the Indian
why
context.
is that not in the? Why that is not in the news?
Yeah. So that there comes the roles and responsibility of media. Yes, exactly. In propagating
on showing wonderful things have happened.
Yes, exactly.
How many youngsters your channel or your papers have shown who have started startups and have been successful?
So Swamiji, this is what I'm saying is like.
So you know what happens? I'm not saying there are no conflicts. You touch anywhere in the world, not just India, anywhere in the world there are conflicts. But the beauty is India has solutions.
So do you think media has failed to propagate this idea?
I would say media should look more positive. Not just me. I would say Abdul Kalam said that.
Yeah.
Abdul Kalam straight away said the media is showing more negative. Media is not highlighting positive. This is when the president or former president of India, we call him people's president. I don't think there is another Indian in the recent times who has contributed in politics and in science.
But Swamiji,
1 minute, a person of that stature who has seen everything is making the statement that the media is highlighting negative more. They should highlight positive.
But media is the reflection of society.
One second, please. Yeah. No. First you have to understand, I'm quoting Kalam here.
Okay.
So let's understand the authority of the person who has made this observation. It's not me saying or someone saying. I'm saying someone who worked with the youth. There were times when I have met Kalam and we conversed with him. He used to say, my purpose now is I want to meet, after being the president of India, that I want to meet 1 lakh youngsters one-on-one to empower them.
Yes.
Now this is how Kalam lived. Now a person like him saying media should wake up and respect that statement. And now coming back, when you say media is a reflection of the society, media is not reflecting good aspects of the society so well. You pick up something and that you make, you hype it up. And naturally, when only something negative is being hyped, or at everything what we do, there is a way of bringing a political angle to it, then you lose the charm of thing. Anything you do, you bring a political angle, then it's lost. So a more responsible media should highlight good things. I have great respect for media because many things would not have come into
public domain
if media was not there.
Exactly.
So hats off for democratic country, media playing that role. But media should understand to work without agendas. The media houses can't tow a political party's agenda. Media houses can't, papers can't tow a corporate agenda.
Right.
These are known facts to you and me.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely,
these things have to be corrected.
Okay. So how can Vedanta and spirituality especially play important role in, spreading idea of Vasudeva Kutumbakam?
Vedanta changes your identity. Your total identity changes. when you come into Vedanta. Right now, if I ask you who you are, what will you say?
I'm Nirmal.
Nirmal, then?
I'm from Sikkim.
Sikkim?
Yeah.
Little more. Tell me a few
Yeah.
more things.
And I'm the editor for the digital media Sikkim Chronicle.
Right.
And I've been into print journalism and
Fine.
television
Fine.
journalism.
Very nice. So you said your name, you said the
Place.
state in the country where you belong to, and the profession, etc. If you are well initiated into Vedanta, probably you would have how you would have introduced yourself would be like, I'm a seeker on a quest, living in Sikkim, and this is my name, and this is my profession. So I'm a seeker would be your first identity, because once we get initiated into Vedanta, we go there. Now a seeker who's on a quest is a journalist.
Exactly.
Or a devotee. I'm a devotee of God living in Sikkim. Now a devotee who is looking at journalism will bring in that devotional aspect too. And that work itself can become divine for you. The work itself can become worship. So then that can be your offering to God. So if you are initiated into Vedanta, your basic identity changes. And once that basic identity changes into I'm a devotee or I'm a seeker, then that extends to everything what you do. So you taking care of your children would be like, I'm a devotee of the Lord who has given these kids to me, I'm taking care of them. I'm a devotee of the Lord who has placed me in Sikkim, and I take care of India in Sikkim. That way.
Swamiji, I just wanted to touch one point, especially on stress and anxiety. I mean, how would spirituality help, tackle this? Because we see so much of suicide cases in Sikkim.
Basically, a person gets into a state of mind where one is not able to control their emotions, fear, anxiety, depression. At that time, immediately there's no solution. Okay. But if a person is initiated into Vedanta, spirituality, not just Vedanta, spirituality, be it Buddhism, Sikhism, Jainism, Tao, Zen, Upanishads, if you are initiated into any of these thoughts, you will not get depressed. You have removed it at the cost level itself. When you don't have the insight, depression happens. Like what happened to Arjuna? There's a huge, humongous problem in front of him. He has to fight his own people. And that too, you have to kill them. And you have to kill the people whom you loved. Kill the people who trained you. Like Drona trained Arjuna. Bhishma was his favorite. I mean, Bhishma's favorite grandson was Arjuna. So this is the relationship, and now you're facing them and you need to kill. It's not an easy job. When he went into the battlefield, he collapsed psychologically, saying, this is too much. I do not know. And the entire victory was revolving around Arjuna. If Arjuna is there, Pandavas can win. Otherwise, they don't. Person to person war strategies and all that. Arjuna had a superior stand than others. So the Pandavas also depended on Arjuna. So he knew that Yudhishthira depended on him for victory. And he knew the opponents well. And in the opponents, there are people whom he loves. Now, imagine the situation, you have to kill them. It's not easy. Sometimes to slap a person whom you love is hard. To kill where? So he went into depression. Krishna gave him knowledge. When you get into that mode of that knowledge, when you receive, then depression, anxiety will not happen.
Exactly.
Okay, I like to add one more thing before we wind up. Now, organizations like Chinmaya Mission, Art of Living, Satya Sai Baba, value, like people who train like Isha, Amritanandamai. You take many spiritual organizations or nationalistic organizations like RSS, VHP, and many of these. If these organizations aren't there in the nation, how many suicides would be more? They're all value based. They teach values. If they are not there, how many depressions would be there? How many broken families could be there? So these organizations prevent even this happening with the knowledge and the values they bring in.
Yes.
A person who has a nationalistic goal, he's inspired for something higher. Lower things will not bother. So naturally the shift is on something nobler.
Mm.
So in my opinion, these organizations prevent the damage. If they are not there, I think all this would have multiplied much more.
Yes. Thank you so much, Swamiji, for speaking with us and for your valuable insight. Thank you so much.
Namaskar.
Get all the credible news on the go. Download the Sikkim Chronicle app.